In this video, I want to take a look at a very common mistake that small businesses make all the time, and to do it in a headlong rush into trying to get sales. I made a video there last week about getting sales and about the need for a small business owner starting off to generate sales and not to be too concerned about the structure and other things like that of the business in the first instance, but to generate sales and generate momentum. In this video though, I'm going to take a look at a mistake, a very serious mistake which can arise from that headlong rush into trying to generate sales, particularly if you are overseas. But leaving aside whether you're overseas or not, there's a very fundamental question, and that's what I'm going to look at right after this. Okay, situation is the small business owner is going to be supplying his goods and services to other businesses generally, and he may not be too fussy about the legal entity, the correct legal entity that he's dealing with. So let me give you an example, and I have two examples from the last few weeks of people one from the UK, one from Europe, who are trying to pursue debts in this country against people here who owe them quite a significant amount of money. In the first situation, it's a European gentleman who's contacted me, and basically he was supplying clothing to a clothes shop. Now, the clothes shop has closed and he needs to try to collect his money, and he's owed a significant amount of money. And yet, when I'm asking him, leaving aside the language barrier, who was he dealing with, who was the correct legal entity, who actually owes the money, all he can do is tell me the name of the person who ran the business, and that was the person who made payments and ordered stuff. But that doesn't necessarily mean that he or she is the correct legal debtor. So there's three options there. The person may have been a sole trader, the person may have been a partner in a partnership, or the person may have been a director in a limited company, or indeed the person could be just a manager in the shop. But in any event, the shop now is closed down, and in terms of trying to pursue the debt, I have a problem, because I don't even know whether it's that sole trader, that individual who owes the money, or whether it's a limited company or indeed a trade or a partnership. As I say, the business has closed down, the shop is closed, and therefore if it's a sole trader, I need to know where that person actually lives in order to just send them a letter of demand, which is the very first step in a debt collection proceeding. I need to send out a letter of demand, and if it's a sole trader, it has to be by registered post, and if it's a limited company, it should be to the registered office of the limited company by ordinary post. These things are important, and quite frankly, I am not being told, unfortunately, by my unfortunate supplier of clothes from Europe, because he didn't, whoever placed the orders and opened the account in the first instance, didn't take some fundamental steps of finding out who they were dealing with, and if it was a sole trader, the private residential home address of that sole trader, in the event that they needed to be pursued, and in the event of non-payment. Likewise with the other business, it's a professional medical business. My client is from the United Kingdom. Again, I don't know whether it's a partnership, whether it's a limited company, whether it's a sole trader, and there's going to be a difficulty there as well. It's not going to be quite as bad, but the bottom line is these companies, small companies in Europe or United Kingdom, and if it's yourself selling stuff here in Ireland, it's easy to get sales, quite frankly. All you have to do is drop the price. But that's a fool's rush to the bottom, and there's no future in that. But when you are generating sales, no matter how you're doing it, you do need to take some basic housekeeping precautions, and that is find out who you're dealing with, find out whether it's a limited company or a partnership or a sole trader. Look into whether you need a guarantee if it's a limited company, you need a guarantee from one or two directors. If you're dealing with a sole trader, do you know where they live? What are their circumstances? Are they living in rented accommodation? Do they own a house? Is there a property that you might be able to go after if the crap hits the fan later on and you can't get paid? These are fundamental questions that you should be asking yourself before you supply. My clients happen to be companies from outside of Ireland who are contacting me to try to pursue these debts. I'm happy to try to do that if I can find A, the correct legal debtor, the correct legal entity, and B, proper details and addresses and so on. But to be honest with you, it's quite difficult. But you can learn a lesson from it. When you are trying to get sales, don't go and rush your fences to the point where ultimately, if there's a problem and if you can't collect the debt, if you can't collect invoices and statements and so on and so forth, then you actually know who you've dealt with, the legal entity, where they're located and so on. I hope you find this useful. If you do, please give it a thumbs up down below. Thanks.